Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video. And in today's video I want to talk about Zoro because I didn't get to do a chapter review, but I do want to talk about what this means for Zoro going forward. But before I get into the video, if you could please hit the like button, subscribe and turn on post notifications. Also go in that description and hit that Discord link and come and chill. It only takes a few seconds and makes a massive difference, and it will be greatly appreciated. So the recent chapter of One Piece, which was 1035, showed us that after this power up, Zoro was just on another level from King. Just like how when Luffy got it, he went from this fighter who could, barely dodge Kaido's attacks and could barely really clash with him or do big damage. And as soon as he got it, it was just an instant boost. He could instantly use it, and for just a split second, he kind of overwhelmed Kaido until, he got used to it. But the point still stands, and it just shows how big of a power up this actually is. Taking that into account, how strong do I think he is? Well, firstly, I want to talk about the downside of this power, and that it seems to be taking so much haki that it is literally going to kill him if he uses it more. Luckily, he did finish the fight before it actually did get the chance to kill him, so he has a little bit of time to rest. But I feel like it's similar to Luffy's Gear 4. The only reason he doesn't have this crazy stamina issue now, even though he does still have problems, is because he's literally been using it since Dressrosa. He's learned how to flow his haki better, even though it is not the best because he still has been fighting in base for a lot of this fight just to not, exhaust himself. But I see this as a similar situation as Zoro. He has to flow his haki, and I think this will be a big part of him actually mastering this advanced conquerors and just the sword in general. That's kind of a different topic because he clearly didn't master it in this fight and he still has this problem, or at least presumably. We don't know exactly what happens after the fight, and whether he's going to fight someone after this fight or not is a completely different discussion that I will save for a future video. Well, I've already kind of made a video about it. Is he going back to the roof, or is he going to fight Kaido? Is who's going to kill Kaido? But that's just a whole different discussion. For the sake of this part, I will be scaling Zoro at his strongest because honestly I do not know how to convert hit the downside of him not being able to use this infinitely. It would be just like I am talking about how strong, say, Gear 4 Luffy is. We know at his strongest he is going to be insanely strong, but we do not account for the downside of his power, which is the stamina thing. To actually look at Zoro's power right now, we have to kind of look at the fight. First, we have to talk about King and his just insane durability. Even in his slower, more bulky form, he was taking attacks that scarred Kaido. Look, for example, the Dragon Twister that he did on Kaido, which cut him. Even Big Mom noticed this and said something about it. And then you look at Kaido just casually taking these attacks. It's just a testament to how strong and reliable of a fighter that King is for Kaido. It's just unfortunate that he had to go against this just powerhouse, someone who has 3 swords full of advanced conquerors haki and is hitting this hard. But after he got advanced conquerors haki, this fight it started to take the turn for the worse for King, and King was able to pressure him a bit but not really ultimately do much. King charges at him and he dodges a purgatory onigiri as Zoro uses that attack to kind of push him back a little bit and make him not rush in. And King could do something, which was take his swords, but it wasn't really with his own strength, and he got pushed back easily by Zoro using a conqueror's barrier on his sword to actually push him back to not get his sword stolen. And Zoro sees an opening when he goes to kick Zoro, and King gets hit so hard that he kind of gets pushed back. There's dialogue about how, oh, you figured out my power, and now he goes to rush in with this huge attack that is called Imperial Guard and Fire Dragon, and Zoro jumps up and attacks him with all of his strength and just one-shots King. So King really not doing too much to Zoro in this interaction, and this is why I want to scale him with this power, because overall the fight was like a high extreme diff, but this is a new Zoro right now, and if you scale it to just where he is right now, it is way easier of a fight than what it was at the beginning. So to give you guys a comparison that is pretty easy, because I don't want to try to jump through all these hoops to try to say he's a certain level. If you look at, say, Aokiji versus Jozu, they had kind of clashed in the beginning, but off screen they were fighting for a good amount of time actually. And we can assume that based on their last interaction before Aokiji got the upper hand and one-shot him, that he wasn't doing much. He was able to maybe pressure him or just keep him busy until, just like Zoro, Aokiji found an opening and struck and he one-shotted him. And to me, King is stronger than Jozu, so this is just a testament to how strong Zoro is. if you look at his feats compared to Aokiji in that fight versus Jozu, that little scrap or skirmish they had, we could probably put him and Luffy on that level. Whether you think they're equals or Luffy's stronger, it doesn't really matter. This is not about the both of them, but I'm just saying you can put them both on that level. I think it's fair to say that Zoro is definitely on the level of the admirals. Just based on that, there's a lot of other examples of Yonkos and admirals getting kind of pushed back by these people like commanders and stuff like that, but ultimately not being faced by them at all. If you look at Fuji versus Sabo, Sabo was able to push him back and pressure him, but even Sabo himself acknowledged that, oh, you're just playing around, you're not here to fight or anything. It was pretty clear that Fuji was superior to him easily. This wasn't a full fight, but if you look at how Marco, someone who is, I would say, is relative, they're in the same range as King, you know. I'm trying to use examples that could relate to this fight versus Zoro, but Garp one-shot him, obviously not putting him out of the fight because he has this crazy regenerative ability, and just a Zoan in general have very good defense, but he put him down for a good amount of time with one hit when he found the opening, just like Zoro did to another first commander. And this is all without not even taking into account the probably couple or few attacks that Zoro has that are stronger than this attack that he used on King. This just shows how far he's come with this upgrade, and when he does master this, I'm going to assume in this arc that this is the point at which people are going to finally acknowledge that he is going to step up into that role that he's been basically played throughout the whole story. But in terms of strength, people didn't think he was, you know, up there. When you look at, say, Roger and Rayleigh, people think they are, you know, kind of relative, really regarded as his legend by someone as strong as Garp himself. Then you look at Shanks and Ben Beckman. Ben Beckman is stated as the moon to Shanks' son and comparable to Shanks in power. It didn't specifically say power, but Ben Beckman doesn't command over anything. He is just a first mate, so he doesn't have any like authority or presence to actually be comparable to Shanks. The only thing we can infer that it was talking about is strength. This is the arc where we finally see Zoro respected as what he is: first mate, the second in command, and more importantly, the vice captain. Now, for what is in store for Zoro in the future, I'm going to assume that the Shiryu fight is going to be the first point where he is going to have to obtain some type of crazy observation feat, because we've seen even someone like King and these first commanders not be able to sense Sanji, who was invisible, and he hadn't even been using the rates. He used it one time in the beginning of the arc, but besides that, he didn't really use it much. And this is someone with mastery of the fruit, assuming that, you know, through months and months of training and months and months of having this fruit, that he's going to be, you know, master with it. Just like how Blackbeard, after we seen the time skip and we seen him with Black Maria, how he was doing things that Whitebeard was using in his prime with the fruit. So I'm assuming he knows how to master these fruits very quickly, and he can teach, you know, his subordinates, stuff like that. And even just in general, Shiryu is going to be a very, very strong combatant and a very competent fighter. He could probably master this fruit in some months, considering how Kaku had basically gotten a really high mastery of the fruit very quickly after having the fruit. And I think this is where Zoro will get some type of crazy observation feat, because his final goal is going to be someone who has the name Hawkeye Mihawk, and his original name was going to be Clairvoyant, someone who can see into the future. So I'm assuming he's going to have a very high level of observation, maybe even future sight. And I think this may be his training for that. Now, this is something that I didn't even consider, but kind of makes sense when you actually think about it, because Zoro is someone who wants to challenge all swordsmen and all, you know, just strong people. And there's a possibility where in Elbaf we could actually get, you know, some Shanks. So maybe he tries to clash with them, and then, you know, obviously Shanks, you know, blocks it or whatever. And this is where we get some lore with maybe Shanks and Mihawk, because he's the only character in the series that really knows a lot about him, or probably has the potential to know a lot about him. And it could serve as just some overall hype for Mihawk. Yo, imagine if Shanks literally says, yo, Mihawk is stronger than me, dog. That would be hilarious. But although I do want Oda to show some type of indicator of Mihawk's strength through Shanks' statements, I don't think you'll have him just say, oh, he's outright stronger than me. But there's always a possibility where Shanks says something direct about Mihawk's strength and where he lies in comparison to himself. Another possibility is the obvious Admiral fight that he's going to be up against. Some people say Ofuji or Green Bull. Me personally, I think Kizaru was going to be the fight for a myriad of reasons. Alfiji on YouTube made a video about it. You can look that up, and it's a very good video, and I agree with basically all his points. And he basically covered all of my thoughts on it, so I don't really have much to add on the topic. But I do think that is his matchup for the final war, or whenever they're going to fight. And this could also serve for some training as to deal with fast attacks, and having Zoro to just overall train his observation haki in preparation for Mihawk. And all these fights obviously are just going to get him stronger and train his advanced conquerors haki and such. And I think as the story goes on and the more people he fights and the bigger his name gets, the more we'll see people actually get to know him and actually adopt his style. Because we know that in the beginning of Wano, people kind of clowned his fighting style and mocked it. Oh, this is 3-sword style. What kind of circus act is that? And we know by the end of Wano, he is going to have, a name for himself and make people realize that this isn't just a circus act or a gimmick. This is my legitimate fighting style, and I think some of the people in Wano are actually going to adopt this style. And we already have some confirmation that Shimotsuki Village actually adopted this style, and there's a whole group of kids that actually fight with Zoro's style. So he's literally becoming like the next Ryuma in front of our eyes. But if you guys did enjoy the video, please hit that like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications, go in that description and hit that Discord link. Come and chill. And if you made it this far, drop a comment and let me know how you liked the video and just some overall discussion you want to have in the comments. And until next time, peace.